I finally got it to go live.
Yay.
Oh my God.
Y'all.
I've never had so many headaches with technology in one night.
Which is unusual because you are on top of it all the time.
Yeah.
I'm the one that has all the issues all the time, you know. That's
Yeah,
my job.
You know what this calls for?
A drink?
For a drink.
Right? Oh, too funny. Love it. Love
That's
it.
right. Gwen found me a really cool thing. I don't know if you had this one yet. This is what I was going to drink tonight.
Oh, ooh, toast. Nice.
You've got to go get some of this.
That is very cool.
I'll guarantee you.
I have not seen that one.
It's the smoothest Basil Hayden you will ever drink.
Oh, nice.
It goes down like
today I was trying to figure out what to do. I have my leaves because I wanted some fall. So I dried out some leaves from outside from my, so these are actual, I got rid of some ugly ones, kept these. Ooh, I think my food is almost ready. I was a little slow today, y'all, because apparently I left half my stuff at home and then only had the other half at the office. And so I said, well, then I'm going to run home and just do the podcast from here because there was no way I was going to make it here and then back, within a few minutes. So I'm trying to organize myself here and log in while I did this. So
yeah, let's just it's just like, when we did sides, I sat and looked at, most everything I did a one-off. It's not like stuff I normally would do, but it's not in a short prep by itself.
Oh yeah. So
but then I was like, what am I gonna do for a drink tonight? And then I'm like, wait a minute, Gwen got me this new Basil Hayden toast. I'm gonna actually try that on the podcast tonight.
I like that. Well, I was trying to figure out what to do. And then I was like, well, I could do this, I could do that. So one of the things was that I got butternut squash.
Oh, wow. Oh, man.
Butternut squash is in season, y'all. There's so much you can do with butternut squash. So I got one and I made it 2 different ways. And of course, the main one is the one that I left. So that's why I did not, that's why I didn't want to just do with the other one, because the other one was just like a honey roasted. This one was mac and cheese. And cheese, butternut squash.
No, I just have regular mac and cheese.
Okay. So with butternut squash, multiple wines go with butternut squash.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't want to do wine. And actually, the other wine, I left it at the office. So then I thought, what else will go with it? And what I came up with, because there was multiple options, was cider.
Yeah.
This is Portland cider, and it is a true brut, exceptionally dry and delightfully fizzy Northwest cider. It's 6.9% alcohol by volume. In February, with my run for beer, I'm part of the brew crew. That was the first race of the season, and I came in first female. So I ended up with 4 of the I think it was a true brut that I got. And then last week, I came in first female at Grains of Wrath. And then on Saturday, after tweaking my back, I came in first female at Migration. So that's why this one, because the other thing that goes with butternut squash is beer. So the Me Time lager. So I was like, hey, here's some options. So what I did was that this one recipe with butternut squash, you roast the butternut squash with butter, cinnamon, pepper, and honey. And the other one is the mac and cheese. You actually cook the butternut squash with the water and the milk. So that way it's nice and creamy when you blend it before you add it to the mac and cheese that already has the Parmesan and the sharp cheddar cheese. So then that's where the butternut comes from. So I was like, I thought that was kind of a fun way of doing this, a little different, but it was butternut squash 2 ways. for everybody that has different, even though it's butternut squash is a little different, or even though it's in this case mac and cheese,
Mm-hmm.
it's different. There's some nutmeg in there, which I've never added nutmeg before, but here are two sides of butternut squash.
Mm.
So the butternut squash mac and cheese and the honey glazed butternut squash. So that is what's on tap for today. And then, of course, I have the True Brute cider and the Me Time lager. And there was another one that Migration had, but they didn't have it in a 6-pack. So I ended up with a red. I have a red that somebody else, I said, I'll give you one of mine if you give me one of yours.
Mm-hmm.
And so we swapped. And then, but I was a 6-pack of lager. So yeah. Got to get a picture of that because that looks pretty with all my leaves all over. All right. So have you tasted your basil, Hayden?
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, yeah. I've already been sipping on that. Screw this waiting stuff.
Especially me. I've been a little slow today. My apologies. I'm usually not this slow. I'm just a little slow, but not too bad.
On that, and I mean, I just pulled 3 random sides. Number 1, macaroni and cheese, which we always have in every Thanksgiving side. It has it.
Okay.
Sometimes they do a different twist onto it. I think last year I did smoked macaroni and cheese. All right, which I've actually made the macaroni and cheese mix up, and then I boiled the noodles. I mixed the cheese in, and then I put it into the smoker. All right, while I was doing the turkey, so it got the flavor from the woods into it.
Oh, nice.
But sometimes I like to add like bacon or like those little charcuterie hams or something to it. What do they call it?
Yeah.
Little ham. Yeah. Stuff like that to it. And I like to make it casserole, like so put some crumbles on top to kind of toast in on when you're doing it in the smoker. The other thing I did was beans. I mean, I love. A lot of people do the green bean salad on Thanksgiving for a side, or a casserole. I love and these are the kind of almost like peas beans type things. The big beans. Which I love these with the beans in the pods and stuff.
Like a sugar snap or just a big.
It's almost like a sugar snap, but it's actually cooked. It's not like the raw. Yeah. And then stuffing or dressing, depending on what you want to call it. All right. Well, because if you stuff it in your turkey, it's stuffing. If you just make it and put it on the side, it's dressing.
Yes.
But I like a lot of the chatter I'm hearing this year, people doing their turkeys and doing them on the grill. They're going to do spatch. A lot of people are going to try the spatchcock idea, which I do with chickens all the time. But I don't think I'm going to do that with my turkey because I like putting stuff in it and letting the flavor of the turkey drip into the dressing into it. So stuffing into it. Yeah.
I don't know that I like the nutmeg in my mac and cheese.
I was wondering about that.
I wasn't going to do it, and it wasn't that much, but the nutmeg is in your face. And I don't know if it's because of the butternut squash that it just brings out that nutmeg a little bit more, or if it just happens. Oh, there's a happy face in here. My sparkling, because it feels like a sparkling. I put it into a goblet. But there's a happy face in there. It's a goofy happy face, but it's still a happy face nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
So gotta.
But I mean, when it comes to Thanksgiving sides, what are the ones that are left over at your house?
Well, whenever there's any big gathering, there's always leftovers. I don't think I've ever not had leftovers, but
you have anything that gets eaten up and is never left over?
Mm-mm. I always make too much. Growing up, it was there were 6 of us, so it was always making enough to where everybody had enough, and there would be leftovers. So I've always cooked too much, even when it was just Mama and me. I would cook and I would make too much food. There was always leftovers, and then I started to kind of cut back on how I was cooking, and I'd separate Mom's food from my food, and so then I still had leftovers, but the main things that I do, depending on what I'm serving, I usually love to have, well, that's a different conversation, but your appetizers. So that way you're munching, throughout as you're chit chatting and watching a ball game or whatever it is. And then when you sit down for the meal, mashed potatoes is something that I love as a side. I love having like a little side salad, like maybe a crunchy cabbage type. And then the way I make my green beans, because I never liked green beans growing up, just didn't like them. And then this little lady in Southgate made a recipe that I ended up tasting and I liked, and I was like, ooh, green beans. But the way those are is like you steam the green beans, and then you add butter and olive oil and breadcrumbs and pimentos and some salt. And because they're still crispy, and then you got the breading in there, and then you got the pimentos and you got the butter, it just all comes together just beautifully. And when I ended up getting seconds of that, I'm like, oh, it's not that I don't like green beans. I just never liked them the way they were made. So when they're overcooked and mushy, I can't eat them. It's just like, no, thank you. But that is something that I absolutely love, is having that, the green beans made that way. The mashed potatoes having a little bit of chunkiness in there. I love that with or without. So either I make them very buttery or I make them less buttery, so that way they go well with the gravy. So I love then adding gravy to multiple things, just not my green beans. And then I've done my own cranberry sauce, made from scratch. I haven't done that in years and years and years, but I have done that because I love cooking with what's in season. And then butternut squash is just one other thing that I like making around this time of year, because it's so abundant and so inexpensive. And with one butternut squash, I made 2 different recipes, and I still have probably a quarter butternut squash left that it's cubed up. I'll probably end up throwing it in the oven and roasting it, because roasted butternut squash just tastes good. And you can make it into like a mashed potato if you really want to. I usually don't, but there's so many things you can do with butternut squash.
I mean, almost always we have like something with Brussels sprouts, because I love them.
Okay.
We always make a cranberry. We always make homemade cranberry sauce.
Okay.
All right, forget that store bought. I don't care. Yeah, I don't want the store bought canned any of that crap. I want real cranberries turned into sauce.
Another thing that I like around this time of year too is beets. So a beet salad. So beets are just delicious also, but they do turn. You got to be very careful. I remember in elementary school, I was doing some project, and I used a little piece of beet to make red and purple, or reddish purple color. So it does stain. So you got to be very careful with beets, because they will stain. So when, if you don't want your fingers to be all red, make sure you wear gloves, or you use something, because your fingers will stain, and it'll take about 2 days for them to go back to normal from washing your hands quite a bit. You can scrub, but it's not going to come out. So you can use, to paint with beets. It's so, yeah. So that's one thing to keep in mind if you're using anything like that. One other thing that a lot of people will do is the sweet potatoes with the marshmallows on top. And that's way too sweet for my taste. So I've never made it. I guess it could be an option, but I've not personally made it myself. And these the roasted butternut squash, these are really good. I thought they were going to be overly sweet because of the honey, but they're not. They just have this nice rich flavor, and it actually does go well with the cider. The mac and cheese, it goes very well with the cider. I think the cider tones down that nutmeg. It really does.
I think anything can go with this Basil Hayden.
Anything?
Anything.
Okay.
All right. So I don't know if you have this, like those Ring doorbell app. So right now there's a ton of stuff with Ring going on in our neighborhood. Someone put down, like, I seen there's coyotes in the area. Someone said, well, I seen a coyote being chased by a roadrunner on 380. This is the banter that's been going on and flashing in front of me for the past couple minutes. The next one was I seen cougars down at the Paloma Creek Lodge. All right. And someone responded. See, then it went off the rails from there. All right. So then someone come off, cougars. Was there a Boy Scout meeting tonight? Yeah. I mean, it went off the rails. Then somebody went, well, I see a piggy in my bank. I see it. Yeah. Anyway, it's been flashing in front of my face for the past 10 minutes.
Oh my goodness, it's hilarious.
It just went off the rails.
Somebody would just want some entertainment, right?
Apparently, you'd think if they wanted entertainment, they'd come and watch you and me drink.
Right?
Yeah.
But talking about Roadrunner and Coyote, I thought that was cute. That just goes very well. But so describe your Basil Hayden. Is it Harvest? Is that what it is? Harvest? Show again, because I want a picture of it.
What?
Got it.
All right. It just says Basil Hayden toast, a small batch done. It's supposed to have a sweet caramel finish, which I kind of taste that.
Okay.
To me, I'm getting, because I'm having it with the stuffing, I'm getting a buttery aftertaste. But I mean, it's so what my wife got it the other night when she was there, and she also got me another bottle of Buffalo Trace. And I came back home and she had them sitting on the counter side by side. She's tasting to see which one's which. Oh my God. I mean, and I love Buffalo Trace. I drink it all the time. But I mean, I was just sitting there going, oh my God, this is just, it's like this buttery smooth, coating your throat comfort drink. Nice.
When you find those, it's so great. One of the beers at Migration, it's this, there's a stout, and then they have a not so stout. It's a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
And I was told that one is just like the perfect drink that is rich, but not stout rich, just one step down from it. Being in front of the fireplace with the charcuterie board and this beer. And I was like, if that one would have been on the option, I probably would have grabbed that one. But I'm not a big IPA fan, because to me, IPAs taste like grapefruit. I've said it multiple times. So it was.
Yeah, we know grapefruit's not your favorite.
No. So it was, they had like 4 or 5 IPAs. Then they had the red one, the lager, and that was it. And so I'm like, well, I might like the red, but I know the lager's fine. So I ended up with lager, which was, they only gave us 2 options of the beer, because sometimes they'll allow us to pick whatever we wanted. This time they gave us 1 IPA and then the lager. And so they were teasing me, saying, really, you like the lager that much? And I said, no, it's that's the only one that was available that I might drink. I don't know if I'm going to like the red. Do I want a 6-pack of a red that I may or may not drink? And I'm definitely not going to drink the IPAs. So the next thing was lager. Yeah. So it does have really good flavor. It's an easy drink, especially after a 5K. Was able to drink that, and it was just easy to drink. Similar to this one, the True Brute. This one has really good flavor. I don't like ciders for the most part, because most of them are too sweet for me. But this one, there's a one that is sort of dry, and it literally says sort of dry. And this one is dry. True Brute. This is a True Brute. This is really, and it's just that was the other thing. You can see the bubbles in there. One of the other things that I was reading is that if you're putting butternut squash, with sparkling, it goes well. Well, this is the next closest, is an apple cider that has the bubbles in there that it goes very well. Like I said, with the mac and cheese, it tones down that nutmeg. And I think that if there was no nutmeg in there, I think it would have enhanced this sharp cheese in there and the butternut squash that's in that. And then with the roasted butternut squash, it's delightful. It just goes very well. It just balances it out, and it just brings out that beautiful flavor of the butternut squash. Again, because I thought it was going to be too sweet, I wasn't sure how it was going to pair, but because it was not super sweet, I mixed the butter and the honey, and I sprinkled it with a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and then I added the cinnamon to the honey and the butter, and then I was able to drizzle that over the butternut squash or roasting. Yeah.
I will say I'm tasting this Basil Hayden with the beans. It's just not a match. All right, it's just not. I mean, I drink it with the beans, but it's not accenting it. The stuffing and the macaroni and cheese. The macaroni and cheese, I can taste the caramely to it.
Okay.
And the stuffing gives it the buttery taste.
All right. So what are the sides that you have leftovers and what everybody eats? No leftovers.
So stuffing, we seem to, I mean, I always tell Gwen, she likes oyster stuffing, which I don't. And there's always a debate in our house of cornbread stuffing versus just regular stuffing. So it's like, make all three. Because to me, it's like the stuffing is the one thing we burn through in this house. All right. We can make stuffing 12 times a year and there won't be leftovers for more than 2 days. That's just, it's just something my daughter and I, we love. All right. And even my wife, I mean, we love it. So why not make it? That's the one thing we burn through almost all the time.
Wow. Even the oyster one, do you eat it or do
the
you
oyster one? I'll eat it if she makes it because it's still good. It's different to me. I like, and this is my curse. I like a stovetop stuffing.
Oh,
I mean, that's my stovetop chicken or turkey stuffing is just my favorite go-to. It's what I like. All right. So the other things out there, not that they're bad, it's just not my favorite, but they're still stuffing. They still have, pieces of celery into them and you know what I mean? And good, the bread's got flavor to it. It's stuff like that. The thing that almost always gets eaten up within a matter of a day is we never keep fresh is the cranberry sauce. That'll be gone and every time. Like if there's some left over, it'll be gone by the next morning. Every time. Yeah. The turkey's the one thing that's around for about 3 days. But any other side, it's kind of like it can linger on. All the other sides can linger on in our house, and sometimes within 7 days, we just eventually throw it out. What's left,
right? Because there's limits to everything. So one year I had this turkey that I hadn't made. It was just there, and so it was July, and I said, "Well, I'm going to make a turkey." So there I was in July, middle of July. I made a turkey. Now, my turkeys, I don't put bread in it because the bread just sucks the moisture out of it. And so the way that my mama would make it, and my sister-in-law thinks that my stuffing is better than the way she makes the stuffing, but I think I figured out what the issue is. So the stuffing is veggies and ground beef.
Mm-hmm.
The ground beef is cooked, seasoned and cooked. The veggies are steamed. Then everything is combined. I usually like for everything to cool down before I combine it, but I have done it where I've done it that morning. And so then I'm just stuffing the bird, and it's so hot because here you are combining steamed veggies with ground beef, and then you're sticking it into a cold bird. But if everything is cold, then it makes it easier.
Mm-hmm.
I will then stuff the bird with this concoction of veggies and ground beef. Now, if you taste the veggies and ground beef just like that, it has an okay flavor. It's fine. But when you stuff the bird and all the juices of the bird get onto the veggies and the ground beef, and the juices of the veggies and the ground beef get into the bird, it keeps the bird moist. And then the juices from the bird get into that stuffing. Oh my goodness, the taste is elevated. It is absolutely delicious. You now have the stuffing by itself, or you can have it with a couple of scrambled eggs, or you can put it on a sandwich, or, there's so many things you can do with it. It's absolutely delicious. It changes the flavor. So I think that my sister-in-law does not put it in the bird. She just has it as a dressing and not a stuffing, which that is the reason the flavor is very different, because it's the juices that change the flavor.
So this will be my third year to smoke the turkey, and I'm learning each year. So like I've got a big cooler, a big thing, and I'm gonna leave it in a brine for like 48 hours.
Okay.
Literally, I'm gonna let it in a brine for 48 hours before I put it to smoke it. But like I did, like when I do my ribs or I do something, I smoke for the smoke flavor for the first hour.
Oh, okay.
So now it's got the flavor of the wood into it. Then then I'm going to take it, baste it, and wrap it.
Okay.
So I'll wrap it. So then it stays in there. So all those flavors that I've put into the bird from the smoke are going to really just sit there and inside the cocoon I've created and let it sop into the moisturize it. You know what I mean? So because then it's not only going to cook it, it's going to steam it into it.
Yes. Okay. So it's almost like it's in an oven, but it's in a
smoker. So you're still getting some of the smoke coming in. All right. But not necessarily all. All right. And I mean, I still leave a little gap for some smoke to get in, but the idea behind intenting it is to keep the moisture in the actual pan. Right. I've done it where I've done it where I cooked it the whole time without something on it and dried it out real bad. Yeah.
Yeah. But have you brined it before you did that, or you?
So last year I think I only brined it for like 8 hours. See, that's why I'm going a longer brining period this year, because I really want to soak that puppy. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. My brother does smoke his also. He cooks it on the barbecue, does the thing, and he does a really good job. I mean, it looks gorgeous, and it tastes really good. But it's just there's no stuffing, and so it's a dressing. It tastes different. So my sister-in-law does love a bread stuffing, which she makes a really good bread stuffing. She really does, and she doesn't do the stouffer. She actually buys the bread cubes and then makes it that way.
Makes it from scratch.
Yep, she does a really good job with that.
Okay.
So it's just, what's your preference, y'all? We want to know, what are your sides when you're.
Well, I mean, we'll discuss more about turkeys next week, because I'm going to do turkey for the show. But I mean, it's the sides of this week's subject, and just when you think about your sides, and really, like, you're drinking beer with yours, I'm drinking whiskey with mine, or bourbon with mine, right. And when you look at that, like, what is it? It's what's your typical drink with it? What are you eating? All right, on the sides, and what's your favorites? So many people have different favorites. Like you said, the sweet potatoes with the marshmallows. I remember that.
Yeah, and I usually don't touch that. If I see it, I don't touch it. It's not my thing. I don't want the sweet. That's why I was so concerned with this butternut squash. I was like, this is going to be sweet, and it really isn't. I really liked it. I was like, wow, similar to Portland cider, True Brute, not sweet at all. I do like it. So thank you, Portland Cider. They are in Portland, Oregon. So they have a great tasting room. That's always on my brew crew peeps, that they're there. But yeah, it just depends on what you all want to drink. A lot of times you might have a before dinner drink because you're hanging out, you're having some charcuterie, and then you're going to have dinner, and then it changes. You might go with wine. You might go with beer. You might go with the cider. Because most of the time I'm not having a cocktail with dinner. Cocktails either before or after dinner. With dinner, it's going to be either a cider, it's going to be beer, or it's going to be wine.
I'm probably going to do a red wine with ours this year, and I've got 2 or 3 of them picked out.
Okay.
To do, but and then like I'll have the dessert wines, which we talked about last week, with the dessert wines that like in other ones. In the morning, though, I mean, I think I've told you this. My morning routine is oysters. I do oysters. I put them on the grill just till they pop, and we have an oyster bar out on the patio. So it doesn't matter what the temperature is. We cook them out on the grill. We sit outside and we have oysters. If it's cold, we put jackets on and do it. So
There you go.
it's a party at our house. So like we invite the neighbors to come by and have some oysters and I've been doing it for years. I learned it from my Uncle Mike and started doing it at my house as a neighborhood tradition. So
Okay.
like if the neighbors are going to come, they have to tell me ahead of time so I can get the extra oysters.
Right.
Because I mean, I go down and get them the day before, but if nobody does, I buy just like 2 dozen oysters. But if you have 4 or 5 people come by, I'll buy 6, 7 dozen oysters and bring them home. And then do
There
that.
you go. Now, since you're barbecuing them, do you make some kind of sauce? Do you prep something ahead of time, or do you just?
Oh, I've got every sauce combination out there that you can do. I've not made a sauce. That's probably one of my next things to do is make a sauce.
Okay.
All right. I did when I was looking at it. So I have that for my grill. I have this app called Meter that has a thermometer you put in and you can read it on the app what the temperature of the food is. Well, that app this year came out with all these recipes, and 2 recipes were for sauces.
Oh,
so Tim may be making some sauces. And yesterday I did ribs, so I did because I like to do cook 2 or 3 things before Thanksgiving to get the smoker with a fresh new smoke coming through it. So I did ribs yesterday and made me some fresh barbecue sauce and
of course.
Yeah. I did my barbecue sauce with moonshine instead of bourbon this time.
How did it come out?
I thought it was there's too much corn in it because it's that Sugarland's one that you sent me. I made it with. So and that's a corn moonshine. So you get that sweetness of corn in it. Yeah.
And you didn't like it?
I like it, but not as much as I would like my bourbon one. I think my cinnamon bourbon one's still my favorite. But I've done other bourbons into it, other whiskeys into it, stuff like that. That was the first time I've done it with moonshine in a while.
Okay. Yeah. So when you make it with your bourbons or whiskeys, which is the one you prefer the best when you're with everything you made?
To me, the cinnamon whiskey is the best.
Okay.
And it just because it gives a spice to it.
Right.
It's
a little bit of yeah, you're getting good stuff in there.
Yeah. It's the Fireball. Think about the Fireballs when we get and as a standing joke, I mean, we remember Fireball candies as a kid, but I always like it when
oh my god, burn my mouth. Woo,
yep. But I was someplace and the lady goes, "Man, your candles smell like Fireball." I'm like, the just non-alcoholics. It's called cinnamon.
There you go. Yeah, I've heard that one before. That's funny.
Anyway,
the rest of us call it cinnamon, y'all.
Yep. But no, that is, I don't know why that's my favorite thing, but every now and then I switch it out when I make my barbecue sauce. And I've not come up with.
Yeah, you got to try new things.
Oh my God, you do not want to know the one that just came across.
Yeah, don't share.
It's not dirty. It's just like, it's like Foghorn Leghorn just spotted another chicken crossing the road. still like, and this thing was, it's still trying to determine its motivation or like that. I'm like,
I was going to say, do we know why the chicken crossed the road? It's
still sticking out. What is the term? What was its motive? I live in a crazy neighborhood this week. I'm just saying.
Just this week or all the time?
Just this week, apparently. So anyway, so yeah, this week here was all about sides, ladies and gentlemen. All right, you got to have a good sides to go with your Thanksgiving dinner. All right, as you see, we both have different sides that we do. I mean, I didn't think to do squash. I'm glad you did.
Well,
but I brought the typicals.
These are new to me. They're truly. I've made butternut squash soup before. I've made butternut squash in different ways. This time I decided to go with something new that I hadn't tried before because you know me, I like to experiment. Mm-hmm. And I think the mac and cheese would have been much better without the nutmeg. That's my thought. The roasted butternut squash was absolutely delicious. I really like that. And I definitely like the way it went with the cider. So something different that I've never done before. And next time I have a gathering, I'll make something like this, only make it better because you always have to, try it out the way it says the recipe and then make it your own. And I should have made it my own from the beginning and not added nutmeg. So y'all don't add nutmeg.
Okay. We're going to have fun with today's podcast, making fun of my neighborhood. Tortoise spotted at the Walmart, slowly moving through. Came home and spotted a cougar with my husband. Chicken spotted crossing the road on 380. Fat chicken spotted at the Taco Bell. Whole chicken spotted in my oven yelling, "Help, it's too hot in here."
You definitely
My
got
neighborhood has gone crazy, ladies and gentlemen, and they're all having fun on the Ring app tonight. Apparently nothing's happening in football or on TV tonight.
Right. And I don't have the Ring app, so I'm missing out. Oh darn.
Well, no, it's all in your neighborhood. All right.
Right.
And when it happens, when people go crazy, it goes crazy. And I'm like, I don't even know who's playing Monday Night Football. With my luck, it's probably the Cowboys, and people are bored. Yeah.
Thank you. Really.
Yeah. You know why it's 1 star, don't you?
Whatever. Don't start. No empieces. No empieces. Good thing you're in Texas. Good thing you're in Texas, man. For shame.
Anyway.
But you know what? Tried something new. And then I tried something that I was like, when I went to get it, I was like, yes, that's what I want. And then me time is going to be for me time. It's going to be for another time when I'm like, just, chilling with myself. So, Okay.
Well, cool beans, ladies and gentlemen. Next week we'll be back. We'll be doing some turkeys next week, ladies and gentlemen. Come by for some turkey.
We'll see. I might get a turkey breast. We'll see.
I might get a turkey breast, might get a turkey leg. I might buy turkey at the deli counter.
Oh, there you go. You could do that. Or, oh, darn, no Renaissance fair. Otherwise, you can get the big turkey leg and just
big
walk
turkey
around.
legs. Yeah,
yes. That was always fun for the Renaissance fair to have a turkey leg.
I know. If I could get that, just to put that on the show, the two of us going.
We'll have to do that in, what is it, April, May, somewhere around there?
Yeah, when they have the fairs, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll figure out when that is. I think it's actually here. It's in June where they have.
I don't know when it is. I've never gone to those Renaissance fairs.
I have. I remember going the first time I was in 6th grade. My elementary school teacher took us, and our secretary in the office, yes, they were called secretaries back then. Y'all don't get mad at me. She made these little tiaras for us with little flowers and the ribbon. And so we got to wear those to the Renaissance fair. And that's all we had that was Renaissance-esque. We were wearing jeans and whatever tops we were wearing back then. So yeah. And then as an adult, I've gone a few different times.
A pig was spotted at the corner of 720 and 423. All right, trying to sell chickens. You can't make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. That's what they're putting on this stupid thing.
Oh my goodness, that's just bad. So bad.
We could make a whole podcast. Like that could be a whole new podcast. The stupid things people say on apps,
Yes, there you go. You know what? My morning radio station that I listen to, it's in LA, even though I'm in Portland. I still listen to KROQ, Klein Alley show in the morning, and they will do the what's going on in the neighborhood, and they will read out some of the posts that are out there from the various neighborhoods. It's like, well, this is from this neighborhood, and then they will say the post, and then they'll read some of the comments made from it. So it's been quite interesting. So yes, there's a lot of interesting things that can be happening out there, as we talk about our neighborhoods. But do we really want to rat out our neighborhoods on social media, y'all? They might come over and egg our house, so let's do something fun.
Well, I'm not telling anybody on the app where my house is located. I'm not doing that.
There you go. We'll just have some good drinks and some good food, and we'll share that with you. I think that's a lot more fun.
Yeah. Well, let's do our commercials here real quick. All right. We're going to end the broadcast for the day. Let's start with Miss Gladys's wonderful commercial, and then we'll come back and she'll give you a little bit more
Welcome to Insurance by Design, the expert in crafting tailored employee benefits packages working with both your English and Spanish-speaking staff. Led by the acclaimed Gladys Boutwell, we're licensed to serve you in Oregon and Washington. Gladys brings a wealth of expertise with an MBA in international business and leadership, and is a certified insurance counselor. Honored for her contributions to Latino equity in Oregon, Gladys is also a best-selling author. Her book, Health Insurance Secrets Revealed, is revolutionizing how we understand insurance. With bilingual prowess, Gladys enhances communication, making insurance smoother and easier for all your employees.
And fill them in on the rest, girl.
Thank you for creating that great commercial. I am Gladys Boutwell, Insurance by Design. I help employers become employers of choice through employee benefits. So if you're an employer that wants to decide, hey, can I actually afford to provide my staff with some benefits? You know what? Some benefits are free or very inexpensive, up to very expensive. So we'll have the conversation what works for you. If you go to Insurance Design Pros on the upper left-hand corner, you will see the white paper where you can download, or you can go to Amazon and look for 101 Employee Benefits for All Budgets, and you'll be able to get the book that goes more into detail. Because you know what? Let's have a conversation. You never know what is going to help your employees feel that you care for them. Because if they feel that you care for them, guess what? They're going to take care of your clients. Your clients are going to hang around, stay for a lot longer, which means you're going to get more revenue. Bottom line is key. So take care of your people. This is Gladys Boutwell with Insurance by Design. And here is my co-host.
All right, I'm going to play my commercial now.
Is your website attracting the traffic and engagement it deserves? At SimpleEasyWebsites.com, we specialize in transforming ordinary websites into extraordinary experiences. Our experts know what it takes to make your online presence stand out and succeed. Gain valuable insights and tailored strategies with our professional website review. Don't let your website be just another page in the digital world. Visit SimpleEasyWebsites.com now and book your consultation today.
Hey guys, Tim Gillette, Simple Easy Websites, and yes, I have a great website company. Well, I can sit here and tell you all the fancy things about websites. Do you have a website? Is it working? Have you done your own website? You know, I've always said if you've done your own website, it shows. Trust someone to do your marketing, get a professional opinion. All right. If you think your website's not working, at least get a review. Go to simpleeasywebsites.com and book an appointment with us. We'll actually review it and tell you how you can improve it and start getting the leads you deserve in order to grow your business. That's it. Anything else to do? Oh, I guess we should mention this.
Oh, yes. Insiders Club, y'all. Go to likethewayyouDrink.com. You must be 21 or over to join. You will have the opportunity to have some off-camera gatherings with us. You will be invited to the various events we go to. If you like running, guess what? I have plenty of runs that I can get you into. Mezcal tasting that we did a week or so ago. There's just so many different things that we can share with you. So go to likethewayyouDrink.com and join. It is free to join.
It's cool beans. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap up another week. All right. We know it's the month of Thanksgiving, so let's come back next week and find out about the turkey. Dun, dun, dun.
Thanks for being here, y'all.